Okay, let's see. We're talking about those workhorses, those major workhorses in the body, the chemical stuff that makes things happen, especially when it comes to the blood, especially when it comes to blood clotting, blood flow, lack of blood flow as in high blood pressure, especially when it comes to inflammation, the anti-inflammation. These molecules are the workhorses of the body, or at least one of the major workhorses of the body. I'm talking about prostaglandins, which are a type of ultimate essential fatty acid, ultimate EFA and ultimate EFA+. And prostaglandin deficiencies or imbalances are real. They're associated with degenerative diseases of all kinds. They're associated with inflammation. And they're especially associated with autoimmune disease. And stabilizing prostaglandins, making sure your body has the raw material for building prostaglandins, is as simple as getting on ultimate essential fatty acids or ultimate essential fatty acid plus on a daily basis. In the body, prostaglandins are derived from the outer coating of cell membranes. This is one of the coolest phenomena, in my opinion, it's one of the coolest phenomena in all of biochemistry. Prostaglandins are stored in the outer coating of a cell membrane. We've talked about cell membranes a lot, probably more than you'll hear on any other healthcare show, any other nutrition show, because the cell membrane is unbelievably fascinating and unbelievably important. It really is the main juncture, the main control point that's going to determine how healthy a cell is. And we've said so many times in this program, all disease is cell disease, and the cell membrane, the outer coating on the cell, is the major determining factor, determining how healthy a cell will be. That cell membrane is phenomenally important. It's thousands of times thinner than a piece of paper, than a piece of notebook paper. It functions as a magnet to attract oxygen to a cell. It functions as a intelligence or storage device. Bruce Lipton calls the cell membrane a microprocessor, and indeed it is a microprocessor. It's like a computer chip. And on top of all of that, the cell membrane functions as a storage form for prostaglandins. Prostaglandins sit in the cell membrane, and they sit in the cell membrane in the form of essential fats, the form of essential fatty acids. And when they're needed, these essential fats are released from the cell membrane, and they're converted into prostaglandins, where they then initiate various processes in the body. And all this happens in microseconds, instantaneously. In essence, that cell membrane, that little sliver of oil that coats the intelligent blob of life called a cell membrane, in essence, can be thought of as a storage depot for prostaglandins, a storage closet, if you will, for prostaglandins. Actually, to be specific, it's the fats in the cell membrane that function as prostaglandin raw materials or precursors. And once again, where do those fats come from? Your ultimate EFAs and ultimate EFA pluses. And of course, you can also eat essential fatty acids and grains and seeds. They're a little difficult to get enough essential fatty acids from foods because our foods are so heavily processed, and you have to have a fully functioning or well-functioning fat absorption or fat processing system. You need to have a gallbladder, you need to have bile, you need to have a liver, you need to have you need to have healthy liver, which many people don't have. You need to have a functioning intestine. Your intestine has to be functioning fully in order to absorb fats from food. So why mess around? They're cheap enough. They're part of the Healthy Start Pack. Why mess around taking a chance on whether or not you're getting your essential fatty acids from food? Why mess around taking a chance on whether or not your body can extract essential fatty acids from food? Why mess around taking a chance on whether there's even any essential fatty acids in your food, given the problems with cooking and with processing and even with growing? Many foods that are supposed to have essential fatty acids don't have the right kinds or don't have enough. You know, fish and seafood are supposed to have omega-3 fatty acids in them, but when fish and seafood are farmed, when they're fed corn and fed soy, they're not going to have the right kind of balance of essential fatty acids. Same with animals, same with cows and pigs. Cows should be grass-fed. Why? Because grass is a rich source of omega-3 fats. Today's cows are grain-fed, mostly. Grains are a source of omega-6 fats. So instead of having the right balance of fats in our meat and in our dairy and in our fish, we get the wrong balance of essential fatty acids, and then you have to cook your meat and cook your seafood. All the processing that goes involved in grains and seeds all conspire to reduce or even eliminate, possibly, the essential fatty acid content from food. And that's above and beyond the problem associated associated with extracting essential fatty acids from food. So why mess around, you guys, given that prostaglandins come from EFAs, given that prostaglandins are, a prostaglandin deficiency is very common, why mess around? Get yourself on the ultimate EFAs, get yourself on the ultimate EFA plus. So anyway, we eat our essential fatty acids, or we take our ultimate EFAs. The fats go into our digestive system. They go into the intestine. They make it into the bloodstream. Eventually, they'll find their way to their final resting place, or one of their final resting places in the cell membrane, which, in addition to functioning as a magnet for oxygen to attract it to the vicinity and then ultimately into a cell, the cell membrane also functions as prostaglandin raw material, prostaglandin precursors. When you need prostaglandins for healing or inflammation or anti-inflammation or whatever, the essential fats in that cell membrane are released, they're broken out of the membrane, then they're converted into prostaglandins. So your cell membrane is a storage depot for prostaglandin precursors, and thus your cell membrane is a key player, maybe the key player, in all biological processes, especially those involving inflammation and anti-inflammation. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. Got a couple lines open for you. 855-660-4261 is our number. We'll be back right after this. Okay, so we're talking prostaglandins. A few more things. I'm going to just finish up on the fat notion, the link between essential fatty acids and prostaglandins. We've been talking about that for a while. There's also other nutrients that are important for helping build, stabilize, balance prostaglandins. We'll tell you what those are here momentarily. If you're thinking prostaglandins, though, primarily you want to think fats. Fat absorption, fat malabsorption, fat absorption or fat malabsorption. And keeping in mind, nearly everything in the body, everything that happens in the body involves, on some level, prostaglandins. Every opening, every closing, every firing, every cessation of firing, every inhibition, every excitation, every contraction, every relaxation, inflammation, anti-inflammation, heart pumping, heart relaxing, blood vessels opening, blood vessels closing, blood pressure, eye fluid pressure. All this involves prostaglandins, which in turn involve fat intake, getting your fats, essential fatty acids, and fat malabsorption. Fat malabsorption is such a significant issue, you guys, especially if you've had a gallbladder removed. If anybody's trying to convince you to remove a gallbladder, please think long and hard about having that gallbladder taken out. It's seriously important. It's not extra. I cannot believe it when I hear medical professionals say you don't need a gallbladder, and I hear it all the time. Yes, you need a gallbladder. There's nothing in your body you don't need. The gallbladder is a critical player in fat absorption. That means you're going to have issues with prostaglandins, you're going to have issues with fatty vitamins, you're going to have issues with essential fatty acids, you're going to have issues with minerals which require fat absorption. We're going to be talking here about a very important mineral that's absorbed into the body via, at least partially, via the fat absorption system. You're going to have big problems if you take your gallbladder out. And in any case, having stones or having a gallbladder problem is not a reason to yank the thing out of your body, unless you have cancer. Before the days of Viagra, we used to compound prostaglandin injections that men would inject directly into themselves to give themselves an erection. Can you imagine this? A big needle, boom, right into their manliness, if you know what I'm saying, to get an erection. These days, there's compounding pharmacies that are still making up prostaglandin creams for folks who can't use Viagra. This is why we're always harping on fat absorption and fat malabsorption issues. This is why addressing the body's ability to process fats, as well as the intake of ultimate EFAs and the Healthy Start Pack, are such an important part of staying healthy. It's no coincidence that the best-selling drugs in the world are prostaglandin-type drugs, including Nexium and Zantac and aspirin and Tylenol and Motrin. These all work via their effects on prostaglandins. Celebrex, the COX-2 inhibitor drug. One of the most important roles for prostaglandins involves cell growth and cell division. This makes them very important for the developing embryo, for the fetus in the womb. And this is one of the most important reasons that all pregnant women need to be using the ultimate EFAs and ultimate EFA plus. Everybody needs to, but especially if you're pregnant, because of this prostaglandin link to how cells divide and how cells grow. Of course, in a fetus, an embryo and a fetus are the quintessential example of regulated, controlled, tightly choreographed cell growth. And this is all regulated via the effect of prostaglandins, which come from your ultimate EFAs and EFA+. Prostaglandins help help orchestrate all the intricate chemical reactions and movements and processes that are responsible for how an embryo develops into a fetus and ultimately into a healthy human baby. Early in the development process in the womb, the cells line up into a sheet, and from that sheet, cells have to kind of position themselves, structure themselves in the form of a body. It's a really amazing process how we go from one cell, or from 2 cells, to 100 trillion cells to form a body. And all of this is regulated in large part by prostaglandins, which means all of this is regulated in large part by your ultimate EFAs and EFA pluses. And these things aren't found in food, you guys. That means supplementing. If you're not supplementing with your ultimate EFAs, it's very likely you're going to be deficient, and it's very likely you're going to have issues with prostaglandins. And if you're pregnant and you're not supplementing with your ultimate EFAs, it's going to be much more difficult to build a healthy baby. And by the way, this role for prostaglandins in the development of a healthy fetus has important implications for the development of cancer. There's a lot of similarities between the growth of fetal cells and the growth of cancer cells. Both are growing, both are developing, both are dividing rapidly, and in both, the development is going to have prostaglandin is going to play a role in the development. That makes the ultimate EFAs, via this prostaglandin connection, important supplements for cancer prevention. And once again, given the likely widespread deficiencies that most people have in omega-6s and omega-3s, it's very likely that the development of tumors, the development of malignancies, the development of cancer has an aspect, anyway, of EFA, essential fatty acid deficiency. And of course, as we've been talking about blood supply or blood flow and blood clotting and hypertension, high blood pressure, there's no more important role for prostaglandins than in the controlling of blood flow. Prostaglandins are the key signaling control molecules for involved in the dilation, which means opening up, or the constriction, closing up, of blood vessels. That means they're critically important for hypertension, for high blood pressure. Once again, your ultimate essential fatty acids are one of the best supplements you could take if you're dealing with hypertension. They also play a role, the prostaglandins also play a role in blood clotting. Keep in mind, prostaglandins equal EFA. So when I say prostaglandins play a role in blood clotting, I mean essential fatty acids play a role in blood clotting, and that means the ultimate EFAs and ultimate EFA pluses can play a major, major role in keeping the blood flowing as it should. And given that deficiencies are common, maybe that is one of the main reasons why blood clotting issues are such a major factor when it comes to the health of Americans, and why blood thinning drugs are among the best-selling drugs in America. Maybe it's something like our blood clotting crisis is nothing more than manifestation of circulatory problems secondary to EFA deficiency. And by the way, all this circulatory stuff really has a role to play, a very important role to play when it comes to kidney disease and kidney health as well. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break, and then we'll take your phone calls also. 855-660-4261 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Okay, so a couple more things about prostaglandins. Tomorrow we'll talk about a really interesting mineral that's important, and probably an interesting vitamin that's important for helping with prostaglandins, a mineral that's very, very commonly deficient in the American diet. We've talked about it many times, actually, but we haven't talked about it as it regards prostaglandins. We'll do that tomorrow. Before we went to break, we talked about blood, the relationship between a clean, freely flowing blood supply and prostaglandins. Prostaglandins regulate blood clotting. They regulate how well blood vessels open and close. And again, prostaglandins equal essential fatty acids. Every time I talk about prostaglandins, you guys hear me saying EFAs, essential fatty acids, EFA pluses, your essential fatty acid plus, or your ultimate essential fatty acid. That's your main source of prostaglandins. So whenever I talk about all these wonderful, important roles that prostaglandins play in the body, I'm really talking about, from a supplemental fashion, the important role for essential fatty acids. Because of the important relationship between prostaglandins and EFAs and blood supply, the kidney is one of the main beneficiaries of ultimate EFA and ultimate EFA plus supplementation. You can help prevent kidney disease. You can help mitigate kidney disease. 20 million Americans are dealing with kidney disease. It's considered an epidemic, and using an essential fatty acid supplement, the ultimate EFAs and ultimate EFA pluses, may help slow the progression of the disease, or may help prevent it if you don't have kidney disease. Okay, so tomorrow we'll continue talking about prostaglandins, except we're going to talk about it as it relates to minerals, specific mineral, and then vitamins, and then let's see. Then we'll finish that up tomorrow. Then we'll talk about some other signaling molecules. One in particular that's important. It's a gas. Can you imagine a hormone that's a gas? And we'll tell you what that is as we continue talking about hormones and signaling molecules, the little chemicals that ring the doorbells on a cell to initiate the 3D printing processes, the activities of a cell. We'll continue that as we move on with the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben, our number 855-660-4261. Let's go to Virginia and say hello to Cindy. What's up, Cindy? Good morning.
Good morning, Ben. In 6 months, okay, I have a right eyelid that I could put eye makeup on. It was straight, okay?
Yeah.
6 months, my eyelid is now actually on my eyelashes, and my left eyelid is starting to do the same thing.
Are you saying drooping? It's kind of droopy?
Drooping, yeah. It's droopy, yeah.
Okay. Sounds like you're losing some muscle tone in your eyelid. That usually means that you're missing certain nutrients, especially electrical nutrients that are involved in the contraction of muscles. Sounds like the muscles are getting kind of weak. Those are electrical nutrients primarily. That means the B vitamins and what are called electrolytes. Deficiencies in these electrical nutrients are very common, Cindy, very common. I'll tell you why. Because these B vitamins and electrolytes, these electrical elements in the body that are involved in muscle contraction, because they're water soluble, every time you go to the bathroom, you lose them. And if you're not replacing them throughout the day, especially after you urinate, it's very likely that you're going to be deficient in these things. So a couple things you want to do right away. If you're not already in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you probably are, but if you're not, get on it. If you are, up your dose. That should be your main source of these water-soluble electrical nutrients, especially after you go to the bathroom, and especially first thing in the morning. A lot of times we go to the bathroom a couple times in the middle of the night, get up in the morning, we're going to be deficient in these electrolyte nutrients. So that's step number one, is make sure you're getting your B vitamins and your electrolytes, potassium, calcium, sodium, magnesium, and such. And the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is going to be the best source of that. Next thing is the whole prostaglandin connection, because how muscles contract also and nerves fire also involves prostaglandins and the appropriate prostaglandin balance. And as we were talking before, if you have any problems with fat absorption, fat malabsorption issues, liver issues, gallbladder issues, if you had a hysterectomy, if you're postmenopausal, if you had intestinal problems, all of this can compromise how well you absorb fats, which means it's going to compromise how well you make prostaglandins. So working on fat absorption is the second thing you might want to consider, Cindy. Digestive enzymes, the ultimate enzymes with apple cider vinegar. Go get yourself some lecithin granules, very important for improving fat absorption. And improving prostaglandin health. You can get lecithin granules pretty much anywhere. Look for organic and GMO-free. If you don't want the soy, they do make sunflower lecithin. You have to get that. It's a little more exotic. You have to get that off the internet. Also, supplementing with your ultimate EFAs is also going to be important. We recommend at least 3 a day. But if you're having some issues like with the droopy eyelid, you may want to consider upping that dose to like 9 a day or so, and take them with your ultimate enzymes, with your lecithin, with fatty meals, and always activate your ultimate enzymes with apple cider vinegar. I would caution you one last thing, Cindy. In addition to all those supplements, I would caution you against thinking that your only problem is your eyelid. Okay? Nobody has just an eyelid problem. Eyelids are just a piece of fruit on the tree of degenerative disease. And the idea when you have a degenerative problem, a breakdown problem, a muscle problem, or a contraction problem, or a nerve problem, is not to take care of the fruit. It's to take care of the root and the trunk. And the root and the trunk of the tree are going to always involve the digestive system and the blood sugar system. That means all the things that we talk about so many times in this program every day. Just to work on your digestive system, eliminate problem foods. Even though you might not think eliminating problem foods is directly related to your eyelid problem, it is in the sense that problem foods are going to cause degeneration of the body, which will lead to muscle contraction, neurological problems, which will show up perhaps on the eyelid. So working with the Biolumin Nightly Essence, all the things we talk about for the digestive system, the Fucoid Z, food diary, eliminating problem foods, etc., and then also stabilizing the blood sugar system. So there's always these basic things that we got to do no matter what our health challenges are, involving digestion, involving the blood sugar system, and involving the Mighty 90. But specifically for you, you might want to throw in your digestive support around fat malabsorption, and also your electrolytes and electrical nutrients, the B complex, and your electrolytes, potassium, sodium, calcium, and such. And one last thing I'll tell you is for electrolytes, you can use vegetable juices, which are also fresh vegetable juice, not V8, but fresh vegetable juices made in a Vitamix, and also vegetable soups. Those are also good sources of electrolytes. And even squeezing some lemon or some lime, a non-sugary fruit into some water, and just drinking that down, that can also provide you with some good electrolytes. Okay, Cindy?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless. Have a beautiful day. Hope we helped you out. Okay, Robert in Texas. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the bright side.
Oh, this is Robert. I'm a swimmer, and I'm having problems with my ears. That seem like I was going to go to the doctor today because
let's save you a doctor. Let's save you a doctor's office visit. Do you feel like there's stuff in your ears that's clogged up, or like you can't hear, kind of thing?
They hurt.
Okay, hang on, buddy, because we'll talk about that. We got to take a break, and we'll talk about it when we come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 855-660-4261 is our number on the bright side. We'll take a quick time out and come back with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. Okay, we are back on the bright side. Robert in Texas with clogged ear. Robert, what's up, bro? Tell me about what you got going on.
Well, I've been swimming. It's been hurting the last 2 weeks. I've been swimming at the lake, but I use earwax plugs in my ears that seem like they're real sore and they're
sounds like plugs. Yeah, it sounds like you might have a little infection going on. It's not really a nutritional issue if you have an ear infection that's follows going swimming, but you might want to try some colloidal silver. That's the first thing I would think of. Also, if you can get somebody to compound some iodine Lugol solution, that might also help you. Those are my two favorite non-toxic antiseptic agents, Lugol solution and colloidal silver. You might also try
iodine again.
It's called Lugol. You have to have a pharmacist make that for you. They used to sell it over the counter, but it's hard to find now. L as in Larry, U as in Uncle, G as in George, O as in Oscar, L as in Larry, S as in Sam. Lugol's solution. They can also do, there's something called povidone iodine, and you can ask the pharmacist for some kind of iodine solution that you can drop in your ears, and colloidal silver. Those are my two favorite antiseptic agents, topical antiseptic agents. It's not really a nutritional issue, although vitamin C's got some interesting antiseptic properties, and zinc also is very important for building the immune system. Those might be two things that you want to try from an internal nutritional standpoint. Maybe high doses of vitamin C, 2 grams or so, 2 or 3 times a day. Maybe 5 grams to 6 grams a day. And then also make sure you're using zinc. We're going to talk about zinc tomorrow. But everybody really should be on a zinc supplement, but especially for the immune system. And especially if you're thinking about the flu shot. We'll talk about that tomorrow. How zinc is one of the...
I've been taking zinc. I've been taking zinc 50.
What form are you taking? Do you know?
It's a tablet.
What's the second word? But look for the second word after zinc should be picolinate. P as in Paul, I as in Igloo, C as in Cat, O as in Oscar, L as in Larry, I as in Igloo, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, T as in Tom, E as in Edward. That's picolinate, and that's the best form of zinc and the most economical form of zinc going. And that might help, but that's more of the long run kind of thing. It sounds like you got some kind of infection secondary to the moisture or the water, and that's a job for an antiseptic agent. If worse comes to worse, that might also be a job for an antibiotic if worse comes to worse. I'm going to let you go, Robert. Thanks so much for your call. Appreciate it. I want to get some more calls. Okay, buddy? Okay, buddy?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, antibiotics do have their place. Absolutely. You know from listening to this program, I'm a pharmacist that hates prescription medicine. Hates, but there are times when you do need an antibiotic, and there's definitely times when you need a pain pill. Between antibiotics and pain pills, you pretty much have that's pretty much all the drugs anybody really needs. Certainly, unless you have some kind of emergency hypertensive crisis or something along those lines, but certainly the kind of drugs they give you that you're going to be on the rest of your life, statin drugs and antihypertensives, etc. Those are things that you definitely don't want to be on, period, let alone for the rest of your life. Okay, let's go off to Florida. Welcome Tanya to the bright side. Welcome. What's going on, Tanya?
Hey there. I'm 73. I'm on no medications for anything. I'm very healthy. Thank you for half of your radio program I listen to.
Okay, praise God. Thank you.
Yes, but I want to know what is your take on these flu shots?
My take is it's a rip-off. It's a way of stealing your money and ripping you off, and Walgreens is behind it. And I hate to rip on any companies, but there are some twisted, evil, devious, insidious, nasty rip-off operations like Walgreens and I don't want to mention anybody's names, but you know what I'm talking about. The pharmacy in a box where you just walk in, and now they have drive-throughs, doc in a box and pharmacy in a box, where you just like fast food pharmacy. You know, you drive through, you get your flu shot, you drive through, you get your medication. You know, this is a business, Tanya. They don't care about you. There's no need for a flu shot, period. There is a need for nutritional supplements that support the immune system. There is a need for restricting your intake of processed food, which also suppresses the immune system. There is a need for not eating sugar, which is one of the major ways to suppress the immune system. And then tomorrow, actually, we're going to talk a little bit about the flu shot and a very important mineral that you can use if God forbid you got the flu shot, or if you want to prevent getting the flu shot. This is a very important mineral for building the immune system. We'll talk about that tomorrow. My take on the flu shot is you don't need it. That's my take on the flu shot. Support your immune system. God gave you a defensive system to take care of the flu. People who get the flu are people who are sick anyway. So stop being sick by doing whatever you need to do to get healthy, and then you won't need the flu shot. Okay?
That's great. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Tony. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much. Okay, RC, what's up? Welcome to the bright side.
Hi, Ben. Last night I got some really severe muscle cramps in my leg, in my calf.
Okay.
Up my hamstring, and I tried stretching them out.
Well, it's very common.
And then I called my aunt, and she told me a friend of hers because she was having the same problem, and this friend was having the same problem, said take a bar of, read in a newspaper column, take a bar of soap and put it under your fitted sheet. And since then, my aunt hasn't had any problems. I was so intrigued by that. I had to. Did she use eye of newt with the soap? Did she use eye of newt? Did she put a frog's leg in there at midnight also with the bar of soap? It was just a bar of soap.
Yeah, all right. That sounds like. Did you ever hear bubble, bubble, toil and trouble? That sounds like a witch doctor.
Yeah, I know.
Please. What you read in the National Enquirer or some kind of goofy tabloid paper?
A newspaper in San Bernardino.
All right. Well, I can't address old wise tales or witch doctor cures, but I can tell you that cramps are very common, and they're a classic sign of electrolyte deficiency. That means all the electrolytes: potassium, calcium, magnesium, sodium, in addition to the electrical vitamins, which is specifically the B vitamins. You heard me talking to Cindy earlier. Same idea. You've got muscles that aren't doing their job, and you got nerves that aren't doing their job. Between the neuromuscular system, when it's not doing its job, you're going to end up with cramps. Cramps are a sign of muscles that aren't relaxing appropriately, that are contracting but not relaxing. And all of that has to do with electrical energy. So what you want to think about is your B vitamins, and you want to think about your electrolytes. Take some Beyond Tangy Tangerine before you go to bed. Sip on it all day long also, but right before you go to bed, sip on maybe a quarter scoop or so, and that should do the trick right there, because I'll get you your electrolytes and your B vitamins. But more importantly, I'd be wondering why, if you have any digestive issues that are compromising absorption of these nutrients. B vitamins require acid in the stomach. As we get older, we don't make as much stomach acid, so we don't absorb our B vitamins. Electrolytes also need some. You need to have a little bit of acidity going on for absorption of electrolytes. That's why drinking your electrolytes and your B vitamins is so helpful, because they'll bypass a lot of these digestive health issues. But I'd be thinking about why you're not absorbing your B vitamins and your electrolytes, if you're even getting them. So make sure you're getting them, first of all, with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and then also make sure that your digestive system is operating as it should, so you're absorbing these things out of foods as well, and that's specifically acid. You may want to use apple cider vinegar after your meals to bump up the acid of, drop the pH of your stomach, increase the acid content of your stomach, and then also you might also want to get something called pepsin, P-E-P-S-I-N, HCl, or betaine HCl, which of course is going to be in the ultimate enzymes. Both of those will will lower the pH of your digestive tract, increase the acidity, and make it easier to absorb electrolytes and B vitamins. That's where I'd be concentrating on. Of course, you also want to be on the Healthy Start Pack. That goes without saying. That'll get you some magnesium in the Beyond OsteoFX, and it'll also get you your ultimate EFAs as well. And EFAs can also play an important role via prostaglandins when it comes to cramping. So ultimate EFAs, B vitamins, electrolytes, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, work on stomach acidity, and your muscle cramps should go away, especially if you sip on some BTT before you go to bed. Okay. Thanks so much, RC. God bless, man. Have a beautiful day. All right, Patricia, got about a minute. What's going on? Welcome to the bright side. Patricia. Do we have Patricia? Or did we lose
Yes,
Patricia?
this is Patricia.
Hey, Patricia, what's going on?
I'm calling for a friend. She's 76 years old.
Okay.
She is a hairdresser on her feet all the time. She got to a point where she would do one lady and then she'd have to rest. Just tired, couldn't function.
Okay.
Now she's having AFib, rapid out of control.
All right, she's falling. We're going to run out. I don't need any more of the grim details. Let me tell you what's up here, okay? This is a gal who's falling apart. God bless her for still working at the age of 76, but let's get her on a good nutritional supplement program so she can keep going until she's 96. She's breaking down. She's on what?
She's on a program, but what prompted my call, the doctors told her she has to have her parathyroid removed, or she's going to die.
Really? Well, I can't speak to that, but I certainly would never, ever, ever listen to something my doctor said unless I was did all my research on my own. You guys, your doctor is not God. Just because your doctor says you need something removed doesn't mean you need it removed. All right? Doctors make mistakes all the time. And I'm not saying that they're boneheads, even though I have in the past. The model certainly is a boneheaded model. But just because a doctor says you need your parathyroid out doesn't mean you need it out. First of all, I would never take anything out of my body out unless it was cancerous. So there's no reason to take anything out unless you got cancer. Secondly, if you get her on a good nutritional supplement program, and I know you said she's on one, but I don't know if it's a good one, you may find that you don't need not only surgery, but you don't even need any doctors either. Patricia, if you call me back tomorrow, I'll give you some more specifics because we're just out of time. I apologize for that. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for listening, folks. We'll be back at you tomorrow with more good health information. Have a wonderful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.